Whitesplaining, much like mansplaining. This definition says the paternalistic, but I'm going to go with patronizing, lecture given by whites toward a person of color defining what should and shouldn't be considered racist while obliviously exhibiting their own racism.
So, thoughts on whitesplaining?
Well, it has to be really hard for them because they're walking into a world where they don't own everything anymore. And I don't mean like, I mean like literally, they used to own all the land, they used to own all the people, they owned how we would do business, they owned what languages we could speak, and they're walking into a world where people, individuals, not even communities, but individuals are starting to make their own choices on how they want to be identified, on where they want to live, on how they want to be perceived, on the pronouns they want to be used with them, how they want to dress. And in a world where they don't own anything anymore, it must be just really hard for them. I feel like we got...
Here's the male tears and here's the white tears.
It's weird how many of those
really,
are the same
really
tears.
close.
They're quantum entangled.
Okay, this is really serious, guys. Serious. We should be serious right now. Seriously. Okay. I had someone the other day tell me that, and this was it was like a couple of months ago, where they thought it was okay to tan their skin not naturally for a costume to go to a convention.
So,
Did you get whitesplained?
I did. I totally did.
Oh.
You want to know what they told
I really
me?
do.
They said, guys, it's a fantasy creature. It's only an alien.
Oh, how many times have we heard that at every single convention?
2 years ago, Geordie LaForge's second floor bathroom, Emerald City Comic Con. White dude, black facing, while I'm trying to pee. I've never been bathroom shy, but I was so like gun shy, had to leave, couldn't pee. Like I've never had this problem before.
So use the drug test.
And I go to wash my hands, and the only thing I can say to him is, Geordie LaForge, and he's like, yeah, I like to keep it authentic.
Oh,
And put on the visor, and that line right there is something. That's something that I was talking about, and I talked about this on the panel that I got to be on at Emerald City this year, is that line of keeping it authentic. And we have this rule 63, which says for every specifically gendered character, there is an infinite number of possible gendered versions of that character that are the same one. Mario has Mario, same character, same games. But I introduced
alternate universes.
Or however it needs to be, like
comics.
no justification needed. It works. When I do Garnet, I can do Garnet, or I can do Garnet Man. It just works. But then I also introduced there, and something I've been kicking around with my friends, is a Rule 64, which is for every specifically raced character, there would be an infinite amount of equal characters in an infinite shades, so that they can still be authentic. Because I mean, and I've seen it in the other way too, where you'll have a darker person feel like they have to lighten their skin, and I go to the feel like because I feel like it's less of a if the conversation is about authenticity, white people choose to darken their skin. I
haven't seen black people or people of color ever I haven't seen them ever lighten their skin.
Yeah.
I mean, not for cosplay.
I don't think
anyway.
I'm like, and I am over here, black woman right now.
I keep doing it.
But honestly,
but here I am. Like
the only time I have ever felt that, and this is something that I struggle with, that I felt like I needed to lighten my skin is because of my culture. Women who are darker are not held in high regard. So you have these bleaching creams that women use in order to lighten their skin, or like different medications that they take and stuff like that. And I've always had an issue to this day, when I know I shouldn't, with the darkness of my skin. I always grew up at least coming here, that having dark skin is not good. Having dark skin equates to being evil or ugly or, whatever the case is. So I've always felt that, my friend who's next to me that's way lighter gets all of the attention. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to be lighter in order to get attention or something like that. So
As the camera pans over to me.
I wanted to also discuss if it's not a fantasy creature of a fake creature. The girl from I don't remember the country, but she did a Michonne cosplay and darkened her skin with dreads and everything.
Yeah, I know.
And then someone told me, "Oh, but she's trying to stay true to the character."
Authenticity.
And I'm just like, you can be true to a character without coloring your skin.
Yes.
It is so easy to do that.
Yes.
But I feel like because we live in a time where everything has to be defined. Even if we define it in an infinite amount of ways, each way has to be defined. And unless we tell them that, unless a community comes together and says, it is now okay to be Geordie LaForge and white as the driven snow. Like, unless we say that specifically, unless we come together and we con by
should
con.
say it now.
Unless we con by con, rule book by rule book, go through and say that you do not, in fact, in most cases, you mustn't change your skin tone for either health reasons, cultural reasons, for a lot of these things. Like, unless that comes out, we're never going to be able to overcome the authenticity argument. Because in a 1v1 argument, it doesn't matter. Like, two people walk into a room, yell at each other, and leave, nothing changes.
Yeah.
Well, this turns into the argument of what people with disabilities have to say too about cosplayers.
Yeah.
Blind people or people who are blind and could authentically portray Daredevil.
Yes.
They're hurt by people who have the whited out contacts.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that original blind person can't take out their contacts.
Or what about well, there was a huge uproar about Mad Max and Furiosa and having one arm.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that I knew that were upset, that are actors and actresses that do have that disability and weren't cast in that, where they had to green screen an actress's arm in order to make it seem like it wasn't there or anything. So.
But why do people feel the need to whitesplain?
We said, getting back to the topic.
I think the major issue with that is that it's been something that's been a part of our history for so long, and we have accepted it for so long that now the idea of us having this different way of thinking where we can actually be ourselves and be upset about something that we see, whether it's on TV or anything like that, and then talk about it, and then someone tell us why in the 1950s, why this is okay. It's becoming so much more apparent.
Well,
Yes.
And it's literally every single day.
We're also looking at that. People have this overwhelming need to explain themselves to the right when they know they have offended.
Yes.
And this is the thing. It's like,
Or they think they're going to offend.
or they think they're going to offend.
I'm not racist, but
And it's kind of funny, especially with people like when looking at me, because I'm automatically a lot of times assumed to be Caucasian.
Yeah.
And people will say things, and I'm like, that's not okay to say. And like, oh, but I wasn't being racist. I was just, it's.
Yeah.
And I'm like, or I get this a lot. It's like, well, it's not racist if it's true.
Or well, I have black friends, so it's okay to say.
yeah.
I've gotten that one.
I got that a lot too when I came out. And I was like, oh, it's okay to say because my sister is queer.
Yeah.
We get African American studies in college. Before then, history is truly taught by the victors. It isn't, we look at Whitesplaining now as an isolated event when literally everything we did our entire life was Whitesplaining, but it was called history.
Right.
It was called English.
Yes.
It was called Spanish. And
Preach!
they're like, well, this is Spanish, not Mexican Spanish.
Right.
We just called it the world around us.
Yes.
Now that we are identifying it as something that we want to change, now we get to start moving that way. Like, I remember getting into college and I went into my first African American studies class thinking that it was just going to be easy, like that this was something for white people to figure things out. But I walked in and I realized something that I had been saying about my hometown the entire time, because I grew up small Klan town in Washington State. Like, they could not realize that I was culturally identical to them, and walking into this class, I realized how culturally identical I was to them, where I feel like I learned more, how deep I had to go to learn anything about this, and in that class is what I really solidified that I didn't want to take part as deeply into Martin Luther King Day until I got a Malcolm X Day. Like how important both sides of these coins are, and how we love identifying and we love, I guess, glorifying the one side of it, this nice, pretty, neat. It took 2 years of people marching and then everything was fine, but watching the footage of the hoses and dogs getting loosed on people is this weird, what was it from, how was it described in shows? It's like troubled times ahead. Is this line that we get where, that's where we are. That's kind of
it's crazy because like so growing up in England, I didn't know about whitesplaining or any of that until I came here. About the divides that have been happening until I got here. And then on top of that, someone told me that, oh, we need to get all the immigrants out. And I was like, well, you guys realize that you're immigrants too. I'm very confused because you all came from my country, Mother England, on a boat.
A few boats.
But
Not all of us.
Some of us waited till planes came over.
Hey, you were not saying
some of us swam in the ocean. But
The Hawaiians had their own boats. They wanted their way here naturally.
I love that Moana's a bird. Thank you.
but like it kills me because I hear white people constantly talking about how they're not immigrants, especially Irish people.
Right. Like, do you not remember the famine?
They were treated just as bad, which totally kills me.
That's what I'm so confused about.
It's the concept of othering, and it's something that we see in immigration populations as well, where you'll have this big backlash about 10 years after the immigration, where they're like, we don't want them here either. And like, wait, didn't you just show up? Like, yeah, but we're here now, and we just made it through that, so we're on your side now, right?
Yeah.
Handshake, big red flag, big red flag. Like, whatever it takes, like that concept of othering is so toxic and so pervasive that it infects the people that it affected. And get it, I don't know how to escape the cycle. I'm someone who is like 7th generation slave brought here. I don't think the solution comes from my people. Like we're still so othered that, like, I mean, and we saw that in like in the times after the Chinese came and after all the railroad stuff like that, where they were just like, we don't hang out with black people, and it's just like, but hey, can't we be friends? Can't we do this thing? And they're like, well, see, they're really, the white people are really after you, and they just gave us our own town. So bye. Like in these closed doors that happen once, like, so I don't know.
You know, it's
Can we just talk about the one film that's like the epitome of whitesplaining.
I was
Big
just
Trouble in
saying.
Little China?
No.
No.
It's a new one.
Oh no!
Which one?
Runs away.
Get out.
Get Out made me so happy. And he has 10 more. He has 10 more.
I'm so excited. Like the fact that just every single stereotypical thing that has ever been said in the history. It just made me so happy that this film was brought to light. And I'm watching this film with a whole bunch of other people. Mind you, there's been other instances where I've watched it with like a panel-esque kind of group. And I just saw people scrounging around in their chairs and they're just like, oh, oh, how many people have I compared Tiger Woods to, like playing golf, and stuff like that. And I'm just like,
Evil Abby is like, learn, my
yeah. Please watch this film over and over again and let it be your Bible.
The first time I saw it, it was like right as it came out, and it was in a big theater with mostly white people in it. And it was the wrong white people.
Yes.
Because to them, this was a comedy.
Yes.
And that made the actual horror movie of it way more real for me.
Yeah.
Like where they laughed was when I was scared.
Yep.
And their laughter told me that I should be scared.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things went home, got online, started talking to my other people of color groups that had gone out and seen it, and like all of them were having this moment of just like, but it's real. And that feeling, that place, the deep dark or
Yes.
whatever, that deep dark,
Yes.
like I've
dark
never
place.
I've never
place.
actually been locked inside of myself, having been in a room where people are having this conversation over me
Yes.
that directly affects my well-being,
That's the
my
dark place.
child's well-being, the well-being of people that look like me.
You know,
and
like-
then that moment of looking at me and just being like, oh, but not you, Dom.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, the fuck you mean, not me? That moment, like I've been in that place so many
What's
times.
happening
like,
in the
I
world
can-
right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I can discuss every 9/11.
Yeah.
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 And I'm like, and you just kind of you hear it and you hear it and you hear it and you hear and you
And
just
that's
kind of
when
and I
there's-
kind of just like there was some when it first happened there was points of like going I don't want to tell people that I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm afraid if I do,
Yeah.
but at the same time I'm like but they're my friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the things too that like, especially in today's culture, it's been happening more, which is weird because you would think that we wouldn't digress.
The pendulum, I feel like the pendulum,
Thoughts?
5 steps forward, 3 steps back, or
Right.
more than that, double.
Yeah.
What is it? Like 3 steps forward
seen
and then like triple back, and it just
let's say it.
yeah.
Song, isn't it?
1 step forward,
What is
2
it?
steps back. We get together.
Search. Okay.
Sorry, call out to a
The
moment.
arc of history is long and bends towards justice. I can't. That's not the exact quote, but it's something like that. It's just
For the night is long and full of.
terrors. No, but it's that moment of like we and it's every time like you make progress, like you free the slaves, you create the Klan, like
Right.
you get a black president. Now we're going to kill as many of you as possible.
Right.
We're going to bring back the worst, the most evil regime we'd ever stopped in the history of the world. The Nazis are now going to freely walk on the street like we've opened the box they were kept in. Like
Yeah.
it is, this is, but we do make.
Why
these
do we
threats
allow
for
this?
it.
But hold on. But and I've heard that explained to me before, right? Someone told me that it is a freedom of expression.
No, it
Right.
is not.
Hold on.
No, sorry.
There was this comic that was like, this white dude stands in the middle of like the 2 groups, right? The neo-Nazis over here and POCs over here, and the dude is like, I will defend to your death, as he points to the POCs, their right to speak their mind.
Yeah.
While I do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, thanks. Go piss off. Like,
Explainer.
slacktivism.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yes.
But from the 50s, we've had a really good run for people that wanted to not do anything, for people that didn't want to be involved, for those people that just wanted to go to the coal mine, work, die, make babies. It was great for them. The internet got rid of that. Information is now created at a rate, more information is created in a day than is created in the history of mankind before.
Yes.
It must be true.
And it
it's on the
moves.
internet.
And, well, not just true, just information.
Just information
It doesn't
in
matter
general,
true
yeah.
or not. Information is made at a higher volume now today than it was yesterday and all of history before, and it moves faster.
Yes.
Think about when you had to have this conversation at this table, but to set it up, we had to write letters to each other.
Yes.
Like 7 months later, we're sitting there. One of us has died of smallpox,
Yes.
and the other's died of dysentery on the Oregon Trail. But that's where we're at right now, where we have all
so
this
badass.
information, and for generations of people that didn't want to be a part of it, the focus is on them to take a stand.
Yes.
Like, the people of color can only be people of color, people of color, people of color. Nazis are going to be Nazis, Nazis, Nazis. But these people here, the vast majority, the numerical majority, has to make a firm stand, and that ground underneath them is gone. I mean, the police aren't even looking for the guy that punched the Nazi in Seattle.
I know.
They were just like, ah! You can punch Nazis here. I decree it so. Because nobody wants Jay Inslee to have to come here and tell us we're wrong again.
Yeah,
Jay
right.
Inslee's gonna let us punch Nazis all day. He doesn't want that in his state.
Yeah.
Neither does Seattle or anything else. We're there.
The one time the police ignored arresting a black man.
Right?
The one time.
Right?
I am okay with that particular thing.
We're getting there. Like,
Well, I'm like, I put it this way: is like if it is actually threatening the livelihoods, the freedom of expressions of another, the actual freedom of one other, then what you say and do, if it's doing that, that is not a freedom of expression.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not, and it is not protected by our civil rights.
If you're tone policing someone also and making their feelings invalid because you believe what you're saying is correct or is right, it is not okay at all. There have been many instances where I've seen it happen when it even if it's not involved in POCs, where I've seen people of different sizes shamed for wearing different outfits because they weren't made to wear that outfit, or they're too big to wear that outfit, or one case
But
or
not
the
size
other.
2 Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to England, I think Abie Ekenezar has one of the best sayings when he's like, "So you like to wear women's clothes?" And he says, "No, they're my clothes. I bought them."
Yes. Yes. Because fuck gendered clothing. Just fuck it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I'm pretty good. I get this section.
I think there was when it went to Sun Live, he came out once in these big, shiny, red high heels, jumping up and down, and he was like, yes, as I say, yes, you fuckers, they are heels. And why am I wearing them? Because I look better than them than you do. And I went, I love this man.
Yeah. My main thing is when people just like, I mean, either if it's mansplaining or whitesplaining, my main thing is like, just don't try to put your experiences and project them onto somebody else and thereby invalidate their experience.
Thank you.
You don't get to.
Yes.
You don't get to tell somebody else what their experience is. Fuck all y'all.
Cut.